Welcome back to Shredded Samurai on YouTube. What is the number one benefit of martial arts? Is it so that you'll be seen as dangerous and scary and attractive to women? No, it's not that, unfortunately, because you might end up just looking like a dork like me. Is it the glory of battle? Is it defeating people, having awesome KOs? Is it using beautiful techniques to achieve victory? No, it's not that either, even though that is pretty cool. Before I get into the number one benefit, I'm going to talk about what's actually happening in this clip right here. So if you're from the United States, you would have seen the bomb cyclone, I believe it's referred to as, that came through the United States this past week. It was a vicious storm, like negative 30-degree wind chill, snow coming down, ice everywhere, extremely uncomfortable. Me, being the genius that I am, thought that this was the perfect time to take off my shoes, take off my shirt, and go do some shadowboxing. Additionally, what you see there is I'm wearing a hat. This is not just to be stylish and handsome, but rather this is to actually blind me. If you see, that is pulled over my eyes. I cannot see in this video. What is the benefit of that? So that I could focus purely all my attention on the technique. This would be super effective if it was just a nice day outside, maybe doing this on the beach with my blindfold on. But no, it's actually even better because I had to overcome the adversity of nature and still try and maintain good technique. If you've competed in martial arts before, you understand that technique goes an extremely long way. If you think that just strength and athletic ability will carry you in an actual combat situation against somebody who is trained and at a high level, you are sorely, sorely mistaken, and you do not want to find out the hard way. But beyond that, what is the number one benefit of martial arts? It is the spiritual warrior. This is what I'm talking about. That part of your personality that can overcome adversity, that is more resilient to physical and mental adversity, the trials and tribulations of life. Martial arts can make it so much easier to handle them. One of the downfalls of living in today's society is that we are almost convinced that the world has less suffering than it really does. We are convinced that the world is easier. We're convinced that the world is catering to our interest, but this is not the case. If you've had a very good life up to this point, if you're somebody in Generation Z or a millennial where you spend most of your time on social media just consuming endlessly, you may not realize how much suffering the world actually has and how much suffering is actually in your own life. If you think that your life is very easy and is going to be very easy, well, there you go. There's your first piece of adversity, because that is the first thing you need to overcome is the realization that this world is suffering. It may not be this year, it may not be next year, it may not be for 20 years, but at some point we all have battles we must fight. Um, these could be relationship battles, these could be financial battles, these could be physical battles with ailments. Whatever the case may be, martial arts can invoke your spiritual warrior. It can invoke your ability to continue fighting against the odds, to continue moving forward, continue to having self-belief despite the cards being stacked against you. In this video, the cards are definitely stacked against me. This temperature is extremely cold. The snow on the ground is freezing. The ground itself is so cold I can't see. I'm not wearing any clothes, even though that was my choice. So maybe that's another example where adversity actually comes from is within ourselves. But nevertheless, this is the spiritual adversity, the battles we must face. This is what martial arts has the ability to allow us to endure. Doing something like this, although it may not be the most logical thing to do, can increase your physical and mental resilience for pain. There are times in your life where it is absolutely necessary just to keep moving forward in the face of danger. Maybe you have not had something like this before in your life. In my life, I have experienced enough adversity where I know that it pays to be tough. It is so, so important to not cower away and look for sympathy, because most of the time people just do not care. So what do? When people don't care, no one's coming to save you. There's nobody that can free yourself from the shackles of this world but yourself. That is the ultimate realization you have when you start training martial arts, because you will see you start out, you can't throw kicks, you can't throw punches in combination with speed and accuracy, but slowly over time you start to develop those skills. And as you're developing those skills, you start to realize, what else is there that I can do in life and accomplish if I stay consistent and dedicated and stay in tune with my spiritual needs for improvement? These are the questions that we can try to answer through martial arts. You think about the samurai code, they would look for enlightenment through their mastery. They would travel around the country training with different people, trying to become the best swordsman they could be. And this is a noble goal. They did not want to leave that path. And there's a reason for it, because attachment to people and things of the world is never permanent. In fact, everything in this world is impermanent. My physical body is impermanent. My family is impermanent. Any financial wealth I have is impermanent. But the warrior spirit is eternal. This warrior spirit is eternal. We know this because we can look at history. Think about the soldiers of Normandy who marched on the beaches, running into machine gun fire, many of them facing certain death, but they continued forward. And this is not the only example of this. You can think of the 300 Spartans against the Persians. Again, absolutely no chance they'd be able to survive, but they stood up and fought anyway. And this is the type of mentality you need to have at some point in your life. Whether you're dealing with addiction or whatever struggle is going on in your life, having this spiritual warrior that you can go to, you can turn to, is absolutely necessary. It really can save your life, and it adds so much value. This is someone who's in tune with their spiritual warrior is someone you can trust, because it's one thing to not do something that you can't do. You can't say you're a good person for not doing something that you can't do. But in my instance, and many martial artists around the world, you develop a sense of humility in your training, and you have a moral judgment that you can make. I'm capable of causing violence, but I choose not to. That's a virtue. Doing things, or choosing rather, not to do things that you're capable of for the sake of others is a virtue. So, as you see in this video, my feet are getting progressively redder. One thing to note, if you train and you end up in some sort of battle on icy tundra, round kicks are not going to be as effective as you think, because it's extremely, extremely tough to throw a pivoting round kick on ice with frozen numb feet. So again, what is the purpose of this video? It is to remind you that in life, this is what the Buddha knew, this is what Christ endured. Life is suffering. And while we can't entirely eliminate the suffering, or maybe we can if we keep training long enough, but we can't eliminate the suffering, most likely. Most of us will not have enough karmic fortune to eliminate all the suffering in our life. But what we can do is train our minds and bodies to be able to physically endure it and spiritually endure it. And this is the number one benefit of martial arts. I cannot sing martial arts praises enough. This has had such a profound impact on my life as things are falling apart and I hit rock bottom. The one thing that never left me was my passion for martial arts, and I'm so thankful for that, because martial arts have changed my personality as a whole. I don't look at things the same way. I have something I can always turn to. This is something that you cannot take away from me. So, what am I trying to convince you to do? I am imploring, I am begging you to pick up martial arts, to give it a try, preferably an effective one. Think boxing, think kickboxing, think Muay Thai, think wrestling, think jiu-jitsu. And not just for the obvious outside effects. It's not for the glory of winning your UFC championship. It's not to persuade women to be with you because you're such a tough guy. No, rather, give yourself the opportunity for immense spiritual growth with this practice. There's a reason why this has been trained so intensely for thousands of years. When things have been done for thousands of years, we have a pretty good idea that they are valuable. So please give this a try. Invoke your spiritual warrior. Find that part of yourself, develop that part of yourself, because you never know when you're going to need it. And when that time comes, and this is actually beautifully poetic with the idea of this storm came out of nowhere, predicted maybe 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 days beforehand. But in the grand scheme, that's not a big amount of time. So we don't know when life is going to throw battles at us. That's why we must always stay ready. With that being said, I'm going to let you enjoy this last few seconds of me burning out my lungs, burning out my limbs, and freezing my butt off. Stick around to the end. I'll have a little outro for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching today's episode. If you want premium performance wear, like this tank top right here, go to shreddedsamurai.com. Additionally, you can learn to fight completely online from your living room. Yet again, shreddedsamurai.com. We're also on TikTok. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.